Many of you know this, some of you might not, but I've sung a lot in my whole life, and for me too, performing arts was a huge part of my educational experience. And I think it helps me just be able to stand up here a little bit more, otherwise I'd be very, very nervous. But one of the things that I've learned in singing in choirs, in fact, the first time I met Kev Choice was when I was singing the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir, was the fact that when you are one voice of 75, and you're all singing with all of your power, full tilt, and not every voice is perfect in every single moment, but what's so beautiful is like you have this community of folks coming together to create something beautiful, to create something powerful, to create something that couldn't otherwise exist without every single one of those voices. And I wanted to share that with you because I think that's a metaphor for what we're trying to do here today, and a metaphor for what we're hoping can be inspired by your time here together at Summit. We are in a moment where we're creating, where we're building, where every single voice matters. We don't need soloists. We need the full choir at full tilt to build what's next in education. And so with that, I want to officially welcome you to Summit 2026. This is a room full of builders. You are the people I learn from, and you are the people who inspire me. And what lies ahead is going to take all of us, our talent, our passion, our ideas coming together. Because the world our young people are stepping into is more complex and changing faster than anything we've ever experienced before. Much of what our kids need to thrive doesn't exist yet. And as we all know, we've been having these conversations forever, thriving is going to take more than just knowledge and skills. It's going to take adaptability, a sense of purpose, and the confidence to pursue it. That's what self-determination looks like. And that's what I want for our kids. Not to be overwhelmed by change, but to shape it. Not to be characters in someone else's story, but to write their own. And unfortunately right now, too many young people today don't see themselves as the authors of their story. Instead, they see the school promise coming apart. Now, that promise used to be clear. You put in 15,000 hours of your childhood, a few years in early adulthood, and you work hard, right? And what do you get in return? Stability, the dignity of supporting a family, the satisfaction of seeing your kids go further than you did. Today, kids are asking 15,000 hours for what? For generations, it was almost a given that you do better than your parents did. And now, it's a coin toss. The future of work feels increasingly uncertain. Nearly 2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and 1/3 of today's jobs will change or disappear over our kids' lifetimes. Young people may not know these numbers, but they can see how hard it is to get ahead. They understand the signals that our government is sending about who counts and who doesn't. And many don't have the skills to get ahead. We know that barely 1/3 of our young people can read proficiently, with low-income students further behind. And so the result is a generation that's increasingly disengaged and deeply skeptical of the school promise. So it's no surprise that faith in education has plummeted, and with it, the basic social contract. Now, we know education isn't the main reason why opportunity has eroded in America, but education must help restore it. I believe that we in this room can drive that change by building the new solutions this generation needs. And I got a clear view of that future when I met Jasmine Bernard. I'm just going to point you out, Jasmine. Okay? So, Jasmine is a junior at the University High School in Memphis. And later today, she and her classmate Aria are going to be closing out Summit. And I love that our young people, especially Jasmine and Aria, get a chance to have the last word. And when you meet Jasmine, you'll understand why. Jasmine has this presence about her. She knows who she is, she knows what she cares about, and that her voice has power. Jasmine leads Youth Minds United, a student group organizing around issues affecting young people, issues ranging from gun violence to environmental justice and youth voice. And recently, she's been asking some hard questions, right? About the impact of AI data centers on her community and what it means for the air her neighbors breathe. Jasmine is not a student waiting for her future. She's already building it. And she's doing it while attending the university, a public school on the campus of the University of Memphis, where students choose their career pathways, take college courses, engage in service learning, and graduate with real college credit. And it's working. Schools like University High are why 80% of our portfolio schools are matching or outperforming nearby districts. Because what they do is they tell students, you belong here. You are capable now. You don't have to wait for this abstract feature to come about. It's already beginning. And so when I look around this room, I see so many more reasons for hope, the signs of a future that we're going to build together. Schools like International's Network and Washington Latin are redesigning the way adults work, moving from isolated classrooms to shared responsibility for student success. And when you change the way that educators work, you change what's possible for students. We're also seeing learning solutions grounded in evidence-based practice like Assessments, Magpie, Course Mojo, and Zern, demonstrating that double-digit impacts on student learning are more than possible. And we see educators shaping and using AI to finally deliver on the promise of true personalization. And they're doing that while strengthening, not replacing, the relationships at the center of learning. The results and the energy behind this work is undeniable. And this year, we got more than 1,800 applications for funding from innovators across the country. That was double the number of what we saw 5 years ago. And you know what else? It's amazing who's building. 80% are former educators. 60% are leaders of color, and more than 60% are women. These are founders. Okay, yes. These are people with deep experience, with proximity, who are stepping forward with the courage to build something better. So here's what I'm supposed to say. So we're just going to stay the course, because we're on track. We're going to deliver the future our young people need. But I can't say that, because we're not there yet. What this room has built across 28 years and nearly 1,000 ventures is significant. It is powerful. But we haven't yet changed the trajectory for enough students in enough places. And our preparing our kids for what's ahead is going to take something different. New ideas, new visions, and new ways of working and building together. The conditions for building are shifting fast. AI is turning what once felt like science fiction into something real. Tools that can push students to think more deeply and to help educators do the work they've always imagined. Workforce shifts are creating opportunities to bring new leaders into education to do meaningful work and to build rewarding careers. And the door is wide open on school models as old boundaries between home and school, college and career, teaching and tutoring start to break down. Love alpha schools or hate it? I just got to tell you, it is not the only vision for our future. We need many, many more. Delivering what's next means we also need to work differently. For too long, we've relied on a lone hero model of innovation, one where one charismatic visionary wins. But education is a common good, And that means we need more common ground and better ways of connecting our best ideas together. If a field as competitive as medicine can come together to map the human genome, I know we can find a better way to collaborate and align all of our efforts towards a shared purpose. Philanthropy has to act differently too. Last year, I called on my fellow funders to be brave in a time of challenge and fear, and not enough of us have risen to the moment. Philanthropy is about balancing careful stewardship with courageous, engaged action. I think we've leaned too hard into careful and not enough into courageous. And building what's next is going to take patient capital, investment that gives leaders time to build, test, learn, and improve. And as we do that, we also need to consider a vital question. How do we fund approaches that deliver on the full vision for our young people and not just the individual pieces? These are the solutions that require the deepest collaboration. Which brings me to the real challenge ahead for all of us. This next phase of innovation will require moving beyond some of our own creations. And our job isn't to fight for what we once built and loved. It's to build something that families will love and fight for. And as so many of you have told me, you are ready for this challenge. In fact, you're already getting started. So how do we come together to build a system truly designed for all young people to thrive? One that establishes a new social contract centered on each young person's power to chart their own path, sustain well-being, and strengthen their community. What this is really about delivering on the promise of freedom. I know we don't have all the answers today for what comes next, but I do believe we have the right people in this room to get there together. At NewSchools, we're hungry to power this next generation of work. And thanks to the generosity of committed philanthropists, we're well positioned to do it. But we're not just preaching about others working differently, we will too. Our fundamentals won't change. We will always support early stage entrepreneurs, focus on schools, tools, and people, and expand the definition of who can be an entrepreneur, all with the goal of reimagining K-12 education to give young people like Jasmine the power over their destiny. But as we look to our next investment strategy, which kicks off next year, we're asking hard questions, and here are a few of them. How do we discover and support school models that genuinely challenge our assumptions, including those that build in AI from the start? How do we support tech tools that build towards coherence and not just introduce more point solutions? How do we seed and codify talent approaches that might not otherwise exist? And across all of this work, how can we support folks with brilliant ideas earlier, longer, and in a deeper way? We know that as we do that, we have to ensure we're measuring impact and holding ourselves accountable to preparing students for the world that they'll inherit and lead. This is a catalytic moment, and our job is to make sure that it leads to a better life for every young person we serve. We can't do that alone. The collaboration I'm talking about starts here. We need your best ideas. Tell us what you're seeing. Tell us what you're building. Tell us what we're missing. Bring us the ideas that feel too early, too hard, too ambitious, too different. These are the ideas this moment demands. Because our work and this day is about building what comes next. So, I'm a girl from Brooklyn, so I'm just gonna say it this way. Let's just stop talking about it and let's be about it together. Thank you.